Hey, it's Lucky. I made this little camera system and posted it to Reddit. It got a lot of attention there, so I thought I'd break the project down for you guys. The project is based on old Nintendo games switching from 2D to 3D, when we still had these awkward camera systems that were almost like 2D cameras with a little bit of rotation to them. A lot of people were comparing it to Luigi's Mansion cameras, Ocarina of Time, some Final Fantasy systems. Personally, I based the system on Rune Factory. I was replaying Rune Factory Frontier the other day. I saw the camera system and I thought I could definitely make this. Like with everything else on this channel, the source code is down below. It's all free to use, so feel free to use it for whatever. I'll quickly dive into the project with you guys and explain some of the other systems I built here. And yeah, let's get into it. So when you open up the project, you can see the town center is the first map. And then we got the west town and the east part of town. And they're all connected with these little paths and these teleport nodes. You can see I built these teleporters. I'll break down what they do in a second, but first let me show you what the project's got. You can see I got this fade in for every location, and then the location name pops up from the top. The camera is locked to the player in the center of the map, but when you go to the sides it like trails off, giving this transitioning feel to the camera shot. And you can see when you walk all the way off, you go to a different part of town. So yeah, all the town parts are very basic blockout scenes. There's nothing visually impressive here, but it's more about the camera system. And mostly that rotation part when going to the edges of maps. Indicating stage boundaries with the camera system instead of just straight up walls. So yeah, really neat system. It's only 5 lines of code, the camera system. So let me get into the code and the project. So every stage is made up of a world environment, a directional light. These are just the lighting and the effects. There's nothing too fancy there. There's one giant collision box in the floor. And then we got the player scene, which is right here. It's the most basic player controller ever. It's just the default character body code, the template. And I added in this little fade variable, which is just this giant black box for fading out the screen. Then every world has got the camera rig. This is just a node on the player's position and a camera with its desired offset. And as you can see, the script on that camera rig is just 4 lines of code and getting a variable. This is for debugging. Let me show you. I added these 2 little red balls to it. So you can see the red ball here in the ground is the camera rig's position. And then the second red ball is the camera's focus. And you can see the camera rig in the ground, the main ball is just following the player. And then when he goes off the stage, it divides the position between the camera rig and the player for its new focus to give this trailing off effect. And you can see that here in the code. Here we're clamping the position of the camera rig to the stage dimensions, so it will stay in the center. And then the camera is looking at the position between the camera rig and the player, so it's just the player position plus its own position divided by 2. And this 5th line of code is just the little debug ball, so you don't actually need this. Then every world has got the blockout. It's just the stage itself. It's all the little cubes making up the houses and the walls. And then it's got 2 portals. And portals are basically giant collision areas. It's hard to see, but there's a collision area 3D here. And when the player touches that, it transports it to a new scene. You can see every portal has an ID, stage ID. This is the ID the portal is linked to. So if you touch this portal, you're going to stage 1 and a portal ID on that stage. So for example, this stage has 2 portals, one for the east and one for the west. And they both have different IDs. So when you have a portal in a different scene, so this is the east town. And this portal links to stage 0, portal 0. So then when we go back to stage 0 and we look at this portal, you can see it's portal 0, so it knows when you walk off that scene into that portal, you're coming out here. This way you can easily link up multiple portals on one stage. The portal script is also very simple. It just keeps track of that ID, the stage ID and the portal ID. And then when the player enters this portal, it tells the stage manager to teleport the player to the next stage with the desired portal ID. And it locks the player's movement, so you walk off into the distance. You cannot touch the portal and then run back into the stage. So this connects to the stage manager, which is this piece of code. Most of this code is just fade in and fade out. You can see you've got this fade timer to fade the screen to black and back. It's not necessary, it's just a visual touch. But this is the biggest part of the code, the teleport. Just takes that next stage and that next ID and it saves it. And then when the new scene is loaded, it teleports the player to the desired portal in that stage. It's very basic. Once you read through it, you'll definitely understand all this code. There's nothing complicated here. The last script that's in this project is the stage script. It's just attached to every world node and it just calls that stage manager and says, hey, we're in the new scene, teleport the player to the desired portal. So everything is nice and loaded when the stage manager kicks in. The last node that's in every world is the location card. It's the little pop-up that says town center or west town or east town. So all this is just a little piece of text on a 2D rect and an animation player that plays when the stage is loaded. That just goes and stays there for 3 seconds and goes back up. So yeah, it's a super easy setup and it's easily tweakable. For example, if you wanted a more dramatic camera, you could even go into the camera rig and change the stage dimensions. So let's say I make this stage 10 by 3. And then the camera will be locked in the center of the stage. And you can see that angle is way more dramatic. And only here it locks to the player and then here it goes off again and rotates. And the system also doesn't care where the camera actually is, so you could grab the camera and grab a way more dramatic angle, like from the top. And you can see it still works in every way. Tracking still works. So yeah, it's a super easy camera setup. I think it's a lot of fun and it could be very useful for making smaller games because you only have to model like half your stage with this kind of camera setup. And yeah, it gives this nostalgic effect. I can't really explain it. Anyway, source code is down below. Play around with it. If you make something cool, be sure to link me. And that's all I have for you guys today. So enjoy. Thank you.